Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Maximus the Fourth. What I have in presentation for you guys today is the original TaB Cola. This was a product of the Coca-Cola Company, and at one point, Coca-Cola absolutely swung for the fences when they had TaB out on the market, and it had come out in several different colored cans, but the different colored containers that they'd come out with were different flavors, such as like lemon lime, root beer, uh, regular caramel color cola, which this looks like it's one of them. Even at one point, Coca Cola had produced a TaB Clear in order to not create sales for Coca Cola, but to murder PepsiCo's uh, subproduct of Crystal Pepsi in the early 90s. TaB has got a very fascinating amount of history that comes with it. And to this very day, there's thousands of people that are just completely left devastated with the discontinuation of TaB. But all in all I plan on doing is walking you guys through the complete history of TaB. And then I'm going to open up this bottle and give you a taste test and let you know exactly what I think about it. So let's get into the history. TaB Cola was first produced in 1963, introduced, and it was actually the very first diet soda to ever be produced under the company of Coca-Cola. The pin-hued can with no calories absolutely rocked households, and people were becoming more and more aware to watch their weight. Without the original release of TaB Cola, there would have never even been a Diet Coke or Coke Zero Sugar, as we all know to this very day. During the 70s and the 80s, it became fashionable to drink diet drinks, and consumers had a heightened awareness to watch their weight. And at the time, TaB was the number one diet beverage in the United States. But this all ended in 1982 when Coca-Cola introduced Diet Coke for the very first time in the United States, in which was completely different from TaB. The Coca-Cola Company was hoping that this move was going to bring their diet beverages into a much higher spectrum in order to compete with much larger brands like Diet Pepsi, and they dedicated resources to ensure that this was going to happen. For years, Diet Coke and both TaB were sold on store shelves side by side, and this was causing the sales of TaB to dwindle more and more as time went on. Because of this, by this point, TaB was getting harder and harder to find, and it was now only available in certain regions of the country. But even this still did not stop loyal TaB consumers to get their hands on TaB, and they had sought out in legions to find ways to make sure that they always had some TaB on hand. And this was basically for the past 57 years. And by this point, Coca-Cola, in spite of their efforts, making it even harder for consumers to find TaB, in which they couldn't really find it in certain regions anymore, if any at all, TaB consumers were still not being stopped by this move, and were still finding ways to find TaB and to get their hands on it. The way that this was happening is that there were websites of TaB that were popping up, and even channels online in which these people were promoting TaB in order to sell it, and TaB consumers were still able to get their hands on it because of this online campaign. And by this point, you could no longer even purchase it locally, so this was big for TaB consumers still. But then one day, even that changed as well, and in 2020, Coca-Cola announced that the discontinuation of TaB was going to start, and they would no longer produce it, and this absolutely left many TaB fans just completely devastated with this news. These thousands of TaB fans were left devastated, and they were asking Coca-Cola if they would please reconsider to keep TaB out. But all in all, when it comes to marketing failures, it really always comes down to money. And with Coca-Cola wanting to be competitive to this very day, they really just don't get enough sales off of TaB to really have any interest left in producing it. So that's why they stopped producing TaB and discontinued it. Now, a while back, when I did a review of Does Coca-Cola Actually Taste Like New Coke, I had some guy that actually commented on that video and saying that TaB is the same as New Coke was, which is not true, okay? TaB is completely diet. There's no sugar in it. There's aspartame. New Coke, it has high fructose corn syrup, and it even has sucrose, which is a sugar that can be found in plants like fruits, vegetables, and nuts. So that claim is completely debunked. And this guy also said that TaB at one point was the number one drink on Coca-Cola's list. Yes, maybe that might have been for their diet drinks. And at one point, TaB was number one as far as diet drinks went altogether, but never in a million years was TaB ever the number one ranked soda altogether. So we're just going to get that debunk out of the way right now. All right, guys, so that was the complete history of TaB to the best of my ability. I hope you guys found that very interesting and entertaining. Now, let's open up this bottle and see what we're dealing with. Wow. What a stubborn little guy. Holy mackerel. I think it's kind of interesting how the TaB words are yellow. I'd like to know if there's other glass bottles out there that exist that had different letters, colored letters on it. There looks to be like there still might be some fizz in there. Let's give this thing a taste. Here we go. Ooh. Not very good. Yeah, these older drinks, you guys, I don't know where this TaB is from. I'm assuming it might be from the 80s or something, but it's definitely old. Um, yeah, these diet drinks, when they're expired like this one, and really old like this one might be 40 years old, um, they do not taste good at all. I've never done well with diet sodas when they're really aged. Let's see if we can read the ingredients on this. It says contains carbonated water, caramel color, flavor, phosphoric acid, sodium saccharide, sodium benzoate, which is a preservative. There's caffeine, contains, I can't read that, something 0.2 milligrams per full ounce. Anyways, heck with that. It doesn't matter. Ooh, yeah. I mean, I could tell and taste that TaB would probably taste pretty good if it was fresh. Maybe one of these times I could find myself a can on eBay and try a fresh can. That would actually be interesting, but it's a diet drink, and this is a 10-ounce bottle, so there's really not much that you can say about drinking an old, I mean a really old expired soda that's diet, because there's no sugar in it, so there's no flavor. So if you're ever going to experiment with drinking expired sodas like I am right now with this TaB, it's probably not going to taste good unless it has sugar in it. So at the end of the day, TaB, unless you get a fresh one, which I've never tried, is absolutely horrible. A little bit of a better taste, I guess. Not much, but okay, guys, that's it. As you guys know, my grandfather has recently passed away last week on Friday. It's almost been a week now, and I still just cannot believe it. So, all the prayers and the comments in the world have been helping you guys, saying sorry about your loss. And in more future videos, there definitely will be some stories that I plan on telling about Papa. And today, I'm probably going to do a mukbang eating video, and I might tell a story about him then. But nevertheless, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Maximus the Fourth here, and I will see you guys next time.